Are you superstitious? Oh, I'm hecka suspicious.
Sometimes.
Very.
Negative.
Ladders and black cats.
Yeah, that's obviously the black cats.
Oh, dude, for sure, yeah.
I'm a little stitious. Like, I won't have a Ouija board in my home, but
Personally, not really. I'm not very superstitious.
I am not.
Got it. Okay, cool. You are good to go.
So welcome, happy Sunday, everybody. Here we are at our usual time. We are Global Strangeness. Scott, Jeremy, myself, Deborah. We are three getting to know each other, but three strangers that came together first with our shared interests in the paranormal and all the spooky stuff, and having a good time talking about all these creepy crawly things. So last week we decided that this week's topic we were going to talk about superstitions, could segue from the curses we had been talking about. So, and it's good coming up to Halloween because a lot of them, people start thinking about this kind of stuff. And the thing about superstitions is they become so ingrained that it just seems normal. Like, I don't even know half the stuff, knock on wood, all these little things we do. So many people believe in them, but they're not even sure why, and they don't really know the history behind them. So anyways, so to get started, first of all, superstition is any belief or practice that's considered by non-practitioners to be irrational or supernatural, and it's attributed to faith or magic and perceived of some perceived supernatural influence or fear of whatever is unknown.
So like voting for Biden.
Or getting your jab.
Anywho, or it's with salt.
Or salt,
So-
yeah, I guess
Or salt. We'll just go with salt.
We'll go with salt. That seems.
Yeah, so I thought I'd start out with some, like, everybody knows about the salt over your shoulder thing. So I thought I'd kind of start out and begin with that one. So
Okay, let me get you.
I couldn't find exactly where everything first originated from, but according to the superstition, spilling salt is bad luck, and throwing it over the shoulder reverses it. And the one explanation goes back to Jesus, actually. So Leonardo da Vinci's painting The Last Supper, if you look closely at it, Judas Iscariot he had knocked over a salt shaker with his elbow in the painting. And he's known as the betrayer of Jesus Christ in the Bible. And so people associate it with just lies and deceit and bad things. So people believe in a lot of different cultures and folklore that the devil sits to the left. He's on your left shoulder and he's there ready to jump in and tell you to do bad things. And so when you're throwing salt, you're throwing it into his face because apparently it goes into his eyes and it blinds him. So that's one theory of what's going on.
That goes with your theme last week of how is the devil so dumb.
Well, and so it continues on. The poor old devil, we do blame a lot of stuff on him. And he's not that bright, apparently. So another theory is when salt is spilled, the devil who's sitting there waiting sees that as an invitation to get involved and start manipulating the person who spilled the salt. It basically makes you weak and the devil will interfere. So again, if you throw the salt over your left shoulder, it renders him helpless. He can't interfere then. So,
I mean, I don't know. The guy in this picture, he looks like he lies a lot because he's got the Pinocchio nose going on. So
What,
I don't know how much.
what movie is that from, Jeremy?
I want to say The Adventures of Mr. Toad and Ichabod Crane.
it's
Okay.
Ichabod Crane, and that
Okay,
was my
Ichabod Crane.
favorite as a kid. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, so
It's one of the most boring Disney movies ever made.
it's, well, yeah, I don't know. I loved it. My kids loved it.
I liked it. I like it still, but it's still like one of the most boring. Like when we do the top Disney movies on like Bracket Bashers, it didn't even make the cutoff for the top 32 or top 64.
Yeah, well, let me tell. Well, I guess you've got kids. I was going to say any movie becomes boring after the 39th time in the same day. So it's like, that's how kids' movies usually go.
My youngest
I will-
son won't even watch it. It's like he needs
Yeah.
that instant, like probably
Yeah.
wouldn't even watch clips of it, to be honest.
Well,
with
you know how old it is, right? Like
Yeah.
they do movies so much better nowadays. But I like it because I was a kid. I love, the whatever. It's got fond memories.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was going with my kids through the ages, every cartoon Disney ever did, and all the
Yeah.
older ones kept their interest. That one, halfway through, they were like, no, 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 no.
Well, what do they know?
What was it around Halloween at least?
No, we were just going through
Okay.
when Disney Plus first came out. We were just going through like Disney through the ages. Like I was picking out all the cartoons for them.
Yeah.
My youngest used to crack up when Snoopy was doing the jet fighter thing on his
Yeah.
little doghouse in the Charlie Brown Christmas or Halloween. But
I still think the old cartoons are all the best, like Bugs Bunny and all those ones too. Those were the best. They were so inappropriate all the time.
The ones that are on that are still on allowed to be aired on TV.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Like that's how good they were. You can't even see them anymore. They're not allowed.
I
That's what we
love
grew up with.
the Flintstones cigarette ads. You guys
Yeah.
have you ever seen those? Those were fun.
Yeah. So anyways, back to salt. Another theory has to do with salt was really expensive. It used to be extremely pricey, as in some cultures even use it as currency, like actual money. So basically, spilling salt was really stupid. You probably didn't want to have your dad, be a kid that spilled the salt and your dad saw that. You'd be in a lot of trouble. So basically, they felt like spilling salt was just throwing money away. And the only, the only fool that would, do that would be somebody who was being manipulated again by the devil. So again, it's meant to throw it over. You have to throw it into his eyes again, because then you can't be manipulated and be so foolish and waste all your money like that anymore. Which,
So
if it's so expensive and you spilled some and wasted it, now you're just wasting more, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you're picking up the stuff you spilled, hopefully, and you're not using new salt. But basically, everything to do with salt has to do with the devil. And I was kind of surprised. I mean, I don't know how much research you guys have ever done into like magic and stuff that they use now, but salt is often used for protection in circles. Like people will put salt rings around their house and salt around circles when they're doing magic or whatever, because they believe it creates a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Between
if you
spirit worlds or whatever.
Everybody's seen Supernatural now. Come on.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles even made a joke about on Big Sky in like the third episode of the new season.
Didn't they do it in Insidious too? There was another mainstream horror movie that they used the salt.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, let's just say it gets used in part in Hocus Pocus 2 as well, but I won't say where.
Yeah. And if you've ever looked at any actual scrapbooks or whatever, like it's there. It's a component that is used or whatever. So I thought it had more to do with that and not so much about, blinding old the Satan all the time. But anyways, that's what it's all about. That. So then the next one I thought I would do is about mirrors. So breaking a mirror is 7 years bad luck, right? So mirrors, first of all, mirrors were considered to
There we go.
They were considered by a lot of ancient cultures to be a view to the soul. Like they thought when you're looking at your reflection, you're actually viewing your own, soul. And it's fragments of really highly polished obsidian, so that black rock polished to like a really sheen, was found in Turkey and dates back to like 6000 BC. And that was kind of believed to be the first man-made mirrors. And they really, really felt like when you saw a mirror, you were seeing your own soul, which hence leads to how vampires can't see their own reflection because they don't have a soul. So that's kind of ties in with that whole vampire theory. And even today, some cultures, when somebody passes away, they will cover all the mirrors in the house throughout the whole mourning period to prevent the spirit of the body getting trapped inside. And some will even actually bury mirrors in the grave with the deceased person to stop the spirit from escaping, which I thought that was kind of interesting.
Why would you not want this, like, I guess for a bad person or something? You
I-
wouldn't
Well,
want it
no.
to escape.
No, they just don't want to be haunted by their family.
Ah,
Yeah,
Who wants their annoying grandma coming over and like bothering them by every little thing they do?
that's why I want them to burn me. I'm not sitting in a box for the rest of my
But
life.
I also kind of felt like you don't want to trap any, like you want them to, you know, go and do their, you know,
Viking funeral, right,
spirit things.
Scott?
If I could, yeah. Or just let the wolves eat me.
Just put him on
Okay,
his rowboat.
great.
Put him on his rowboat, set it on fire, and give him his Viking funeral.
In the town park in the little pond in front of everyone.
That would be awesome. And not in a little rowboat, in my plastic kayak. That's how I
Oh,
would
that'll
go
burn-
down.
That would smell really good, body and plastic. Beautiful.
Maybe throw a tire on there too.
So I guess the Greeks believed that the reflection of water held spirits. So not so much about their own spirit, but they thought there's actual spirits, ghosts and whatever, other entities in the water. So that's kind of where people kind of think about this too. So the exact origins are not exactly known again. I couldn't find the exact first story about it. But it is believed throughout most cultures or whatever, that breaking a mirror breaks the soul into pieces. So because it's the reflection or projection of your own soul, it breaks your own soul into pieces. And the soul that's now damaged can't protect the owner anymore from bad luck. And that's why you get bad luck, because your soul is all broken up and weak. And then I thought this one was crazy. Another theory is that your own soul seeks revenge against the one responsible for the injuries. So if you break a mirror, it's your own soul that's being mean to you.
Giving you the bad luck.
Right. And I'm like, God, that seems a little harsh, like working against you. But anyways,
Talk
have
about
you
guilt.
ever heard that?
Well, actually, okay. Well, is that all you got on mirrors before I say this? Because I don't want to say something you're about to say, but
Well, and then the 7 years stuff comes from, I go into that a little bit, but go ahead.
because apparently I came across this when I was researching superstitions. If you hang in ancient civilizations, I think it was, I want to say ancient Rome or something like that. If you hang two mirrors across from each other, they had the belief that it would allow the devil to walk through.
Yeah, and I do touch on that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like facing mirrors together because it creates a portal that they can come through.
Just
And
imagine
I-
waking up in the middle of the night, you see the devil pop out of your mirror like, hey.
Well, I was thinking of that when I was reading that. I was thinking about, because in my bathroom, you open a cabinet and there's a mirror behind me so I can do my hair. So it's like this three-way mirror thing going on there every day. But anyways, and the 7 years part comes from the Romans. And their whole thing about the whole 7 years is that they believe every 7 years life renews itself. And so if you break a mirror, you have to suffer for that 7 years before it resets.
I never knew that part. So the 7 years comes from the Romans.
Yeah.
That's how we always had the story, right? Is you
7
get
years
7
bad luck.
years
I never
to-
knew where it came from either. Yeah. And so it's the cycle of life. And so whatever happens, it's going to take 7 years to go that out. But you can prevent it, the bad luck, I guess, by taking shattered pieces of the mirror and burying them by the light of the moon, or taking fragments of it and touching it against tombstones, which I don't think you'd look like I don't know if you could get away with that nowadays. So you might just have your bad luck for 7 years. Yeah, but yeah, I didn't know where that came from either, but I always heard 7 years too, so.
Last time I researched it, I heard that like the bottom line straightforward answer is because mirrors were as expensive as fuck.
You know what? I think a lot of these superstitions, it is a lot of it, it was just, money wasn't flush and you were, breaking and wasting things.
Like you were saying with the salt, it was a way to keep your kids in. Don't put the goddamn salt on the floor.
I mean,
Exactly.
I don't know that Himalayan pink salt's pretty damn expensive.
Yeah.
Not if you buy it at Winco. You guys are on the East Coast. That's the West Coast.
I don't know what that is.
We have Costco's and we have BJ's and we have Sam's Club. So we're
Oh, we have a Costco. Yeah, we have Costco here. Yeah. And I thought it was weird too, because again, mirrors are used in magic or whatever for scrying. So you know how you have like crystal balls or whatever, but a lot of people into that stuff, you use mirrors for scrying. So it makes more sense to me that it's other spirits in the mirror but
Mhm.
most of these are based on it being your own soul. So I thought that was weird because I always thought if you broke a mirror, the spirits come out and they kind of mess with you for 7 years. So it was totally different than what I thought.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way to get back at your own soul.
Well, I find it weird that your own soul's mad at you and like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to get back your own soul, just do everything the Bible said to do. Go to hell.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, you keep it up, buddy.
I'll let one of you guys
We're
test it
gonna
out there. You
murder
get
the
back to me.
neighbor.
Murder thy neighbor, commit some adultery, disrespect thy parents, all that stuff. You know.
Let me know how that works out for you. How that works.
Well,
So,
aside
and
from
then-
murdering the neighbor, I'm pretty much done with that checklist. But yeah, that might happen eventually.
Oh God, your neighbor's probably like, oh God, we're next on the list for the last one. Like,
I'll send you a
Afterwards.
card of the podcast so you can give it to your neighbor to watch.
right.
Yeah,
And then
I'll
the
talk
last
to him.
superstition I did was step on a crack, and that's kind of, you know, relays right into the, just like the mirrors. A lot of people believed that just like mirrors, cracks anywhere they're basically portals to the supernatural realms. And anytime you step on one, you can release unwelcome spirits into the world that will do harm. And a lot of these theories go around. The spirits will actually cause harm to your family member. The saying is step on a crack, break your mother's back. So yeah, it's
But why is it
but
always-
that's
why is it always
basically
your mother?
about other spirits getting out to do bad things.
Well, look, take
Why
a
is it-
look at
why
this
is it-
picture.
I know it's like
There's no crack here. Where does that crack go? I don't know. I mean, we might have a little toe feather touching that crack, but
I mean, I don't know.
no crack here.
maybe her mom's
we-
safe then. She's being careful.
Where do we get this picture anyway? A foot fetish site?
No, no, no. There's some good ones, but I was like, that is some creepy looking feet going on the thing. So, yeah, it's the creep. That's the creep factor I was looking for.
Yeah, it looks. Oh, okay. That's nail polish. I thought it was
Yeah,
like rashes on the toes or something.
yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's my superstitions. What do you guys got? Got better pictures, you know.
I don't think my pictures were any better.
I mean, I didn't even bother with pictures because there would be no pictures besides just random objects. So,
Okay. Which one of these went first? What do you guys want? Black Cats or Friday the 13th?
I want to see an interview of some of your interviews this week.
Oh yeah. Do you want to see a random mashup of all of them?
How long
Like
is
all
it?
the answers? The answers are very short. I do
Okay,
have
then,
to. I interviewed a guy who runs. Oop, can't do that. Runs a CBD shop, like a legal high
Yeah.
gummy thing, whatever the hell, for people who don't have their license. I have to run his. Do you want to see that or the mashup first?
Do the one interview first, and we'll do the mashup in the second part.
Okay, let me get this pulled up real
Yes.
quick.
Gotta save the best for last.
Oh, Jesus, I didn't mark these yet. Okay, here, I'm sharing screen. We got to share some audio. This guy was funny, though. It was funny, so. Here he is.
Getting in on it.
Oh, wrong one. I'm
Okay.
screwing up. This is the guy.
You rolling? So what, do you want to talk about your product at all? So we're rocking on hemp. We sell these tinctures, all this stuff, all made here in Utah. We also sell Kush Cubes, which are an outside company.
Okay.
They contain Delta 9 THC and also 15 milligrams of CBD, so it's all legal in the state of Utah. Everything's made about 2 miles away from here, so that's my product. We sell these bombs and everything like that. Just a good product. I'm down at Southtown Mall, not Southtown, Fashion Place, University Place or Red Cliffs Mall.
Rocky
That's where
Mountain
we're
Hemp.
at. So
Cool. Well, we got Halloween coming up. We're trying to stay on theme. This week's episode is on superstitions. Are you superstitious?
oh, dude, for sure, yeah.
Yeah?
Jesus, yeah. You don't whistle inside the house. You whistle all your money away. You know, it's just skinwalkers, all that shit.
So what's your biggest superstition?
I'm
Man,
doing that
knocking
one
on
too.
wood.
Knocking on wood. That's the second one I got of that. Now, does your product Does your product help with the superstition?
I mean, if you take a couple too many edibles, you think you'll see God.
Okay.
I'm just joking, but kind of.
So, there's a bunch of different superstitions throughout the world.
He's not joking.
Do you think it has anything to do genetically with culture, or do you think it's more of a nurture thing?
I think it's more of a culture thing because, I mean, I'm very Eastern European. My family emigrated here from Russia back in 2000. So I believe in all those Russian superstitions like Baba Yaga, stuff like that. I mean, everything like that. So,
Okay.
you know, just, yeah, I mean, superstitions out there. It's out there for a reason. It's everywhere. It's got to be based on something.
Okay, cool. Well, the last question I got for you is, what is your favorite scary movie?
Oh, man, I can't watch scary movies, but have to say Barbarian.
Barbarian?
Have you seen that one?
I haven't. Where'd you watch that?
At the movie theater. It actually came out not.
But yeah, if you're watching in Utah, go to Rocky Mountain Hemp at the mall.
Not a sponsor, but Scott should have made that happen.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
No, it was I actually had two people this time that came up to me and asked if they could be interviewed.
Nice.
And then I had 3 people that were working that I interviewed. So I got a lot of interviews this week.
That's
You're getting
probably
a
go to the
reputation.
workers because they want to, do something other than work. So that's a
Well,
good idea.
I've been trying the Foot Locker people every week. They're not budging, but I got one of the Spirit people. I got him. I got another one. Oh, I got a Hot Topic worker. I was gonna say something bad.
Ooh, Hot Topic. Love Hot Topic.
Getting
Oh
a
my,
little
that's
unpe-
that's where you get all the nice novelty and gag gifts and all the stuff for the bedroom.
That's Spencer's, my friend.
No, Hot Topic has that section too,
Okay.
in the back right corner normally.
It's crazy. Hot Topic used to be like, for the goth kids, but it hasn't like changed at all. And now they sell like the same thing the skate shops do, like anime stuff. And it's weird
Well,
how that culture.
It's all the goth kid stuff still.
Yeah.
Just goth kids have changed from the 90s and early 2000s.
Well, there were less of them, that's for sure.
Yeah, now they're all emo and don't get me started on that.
Okay, so I guess I'm jumping in, huh? Okay,
It's
we'll
all you.
do Friday the 13th. Let me pull up some pictures here. Let me find out where I'm going first. And you've written your stories, right, Deborah?
Yeah. So I'm be recording and then
I put my Stingy Jack stories in some of the paranormal groups, and they
Saw
took
that.
off. Like I got 50 to 100 likes and a bunch of comments on all these, but every other time I've tried putting my notes in these groups, if I try to link to our podcast or anything, like they deny the post.
yeah.
You're in the wrong groups, man. I post our podcast in like 25 different paranormal groups every week.
Yeah, no, you got to hook me up with those, because if I can like,
I'll invite you
hey,
to all of
come
them.
watch that, then
I do that
it would
too,
do something.
But for that, a lot of them turn me down for the Twitch link.
Yeah, no, I
'Cause-
mean, even if I could say like, hey, we're live on Sundays, but even when I try to say something like that, like, hey, if you want to hear the full story, come watch us on Twitch on Sundays, Global Strangeness, they'll deny the damn.
They're pretty
post.
good if you ask the admin first.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Some of
That's
them are
why-
hard up on. Some of them are hard up on no promotions.
Yeah, there is.
I can't write worth a crap. So if you tried doing that, we might, get some more people. If you can find a way to promote the podcast with it too,
Yeah.
or your YouTube, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we can talk more about that after, but yeah, I've been kind of coming up with ideas of how to do that. So
Game-winning ideas. Okay, well, I'm going to do my 2, and then I'll probably leave it to Jeremy and take a bathroom break. Friday the 13th. So have you guys ever heard of triskaidekaphobia?
I think I have, yeah.
It's the
I can't
fear
remember.
of the number 13.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I knew that.
So if we go back in time, you can look at religious, cultural, astrological beliefs, and you'll always find, for some reason, the number 12 represents completion. So there are 12 months in the year, 12 constellations in the sky. There were 12 disciples of Christ, and Jacob had 12 sons, which made up the 12 tribes of Israel. And then
Jacob was
even
a
if,
busy man.
oh yeah, he was. And God, could you imagine having 12 kids today? Jeez.
I have two, and I want to strangle them. So yeah.
But even if you go back past Christianity, Norse mythology, the number 13 was not a good number, right? So you had the death of Balder that relates to the number 13. There were 12 gods. This is a pretty famous story if you listen to any Nordic mythology. But there were 12 gods having a feast, and then a 13th guest came uninvited. Does anybody know who that 13th guest was?
Balder. Oh no.
Very
wasn't
popular
Balder.
in the Marvel universe.
It was Thor. Yeah.
No, it was
No,
Loki.
Loki. It's always Loki. It's North mythology. It's always Loki.
Okay. So, I mean, we're not going to go over that whole story here, but Loki convinces Hod to throw a little dart made of mistletoe,
Yep.
and that ends up killing Balder. And
Because that's the one thing on Earth that could kill him.
Yeah, that's a long story, but Loki was the 13th person that was invited, and he was the one that helped kill Balder, and that was actually the start of Ragnarok. So
Yes, it
the
was.
number 13 goes back pre-Christianity.
And notice the striking similarity to the Last Supper right there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we'll get into that here pretty soon, but I'm trying to screen share and do this at the same time. We got here, we'll do Boulder. So this is, you can even see it kind of in the illustrations. We don't need to share sound. So this is the depiction of the gods with Boulder dying. So the question is, why is Friday the 13th anything special? Why isn't Tuesday or Saturday or, you know, whatever other day as special as Friday the 13th? And there are a couple different things, major things that people speculate. There was an ancient text, I left that out, and that was because it was a clerical error. Dates pre-Christianity, they made laws for their religion, and they went from 12 to 14. But historians typically believe that was just a clerical error. And when you're carving in stone, you're not going to start over. So one of these was, like Jeremy said, the Last Supper.
And on a lot of streets, they will not give a house a number 13.
Oh, I don't have a Last Supper. Okay. So
depending
on
the town, but
the Last Supper, there were 12 disciples that came and sat down, and Jesus would have made the 13th person, but Judas was the 13th person to come into the household. And then, of course, you know, Jesus prophesies that one of his disciples would turn him in, have him killed, and he did die the following day, crucified on the cross. So that might be one of the reasons the Christian religion believes that Friday the 13th, because Jesus died on Friday and the 13th disciple betrayed him. They might think, but the other one, which I think probably makes more sense, King Philip IV of France sent an order to capture all of the Knights Templar. On Friday, October 13th, 1307. So this would result in hundreds of Templar being captured and tortured as heretics, but the war would go on for years. So actually, most of them died you know, couple years later, throughout like 7 years of history. So those two stories hold religious significance, but to this day, why'd we make a Friday the 13th movie with Jason? Like, why is it stuck around so much? Is it just, you know, cultural crap that had come from religious context before and
Yeah,
they kept
basically,
on with it?
that's why they picked the name. It was a good way to make a thing that happens every Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no, and I couldn't find like when it got repopularized. Like, was it with Jason? But
It hit mainstream with that. Yeah, it hit like the populace.
the number 13 itself is pretty interesting. So this goes back pretty far. Do you guys notice anything different about this picture here?
A lot
Yeah,
of hotels
there's-
don't have 13 floors. Or a lot
Yeah.
of businesses don't.
Yeah. So there's a lot, like you said, a lot that went straight from the 12th to the 14th floor. And like, for example, Chicago Trump Tower, it has a mezzanine floor in between the two floors. And then like this is somewhat usable. So, you know, you do storage or whatever in that 13th floor. But a lot of hotels actually made like half a floor in between the 12th and the 14th floor that you don't even really have access to. Like, you have to take fire exits to. But Hotel Burnham in Chicago also doesn't have a 13th floor. The New York City Essex House doesn't have a 13th floor.
That's
And
interesting because I always thought that they just didn't like name one 13. I didn't know they built like a half unusable floor. That's crazy.
sometimes they do, yeah. And I don't remember the podcast where I originally heard that, but they go into more great detail about that.
Like, that's some superstition because you're adding expense to the building.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's crazy.
There have been some notable things that have happened on Friday the 13th. And like I was talking about, you know, this becoming more popularized when Jason became popularized. One of the more recent things was Friday, September 13th, 1940, Buckingham Palace was bombed by a German raider. So I actually went and looked in all the newspapers to see if I could, find anything that like linked it to Friday the 13th or anything unlucky. And they had 4 pages of newspaper and there was not one mention of, you know, they got bombed because it was Friday the 13th. None of that stuff came until after it happened. So I don't know when exactly they started.
I mean, they probably got bombed the 12th and the 14th too.
Well, no, Buckingham Palace specifically. So another one, Jeremy, you might find this one to your liking. September 13th, 1996. What happened?
Was that the
I think you got it.
that famous school shooting?
Not school shooting, rapper shooting.
Oh, that's when Tupac got shot. Yeah.
That's when Tupac got shot. And then in January 13th, Friday, January 13th, 2012, the Costa.
He deserved for shooting Biggie. Just saying.
If he did it. Tupac's still alive. Come on.
He's in Jamaica.
The Costa Cordia cruise ship from Italy sunk. It killed 30 people. And then like the most tragic thing that's happened recently, Friday, November 13th, 1970, the Bohala cyclone hit eastern Pakistan and it killed over 300,000 people.
Mhm.
But cyclones happen every day of the week, so I don't know. What do you guys believe in any of the Friday the 13th? My wife
mean,
does.
It's right up. I don't really believe. I mean, I've had Friday the 13th that suck, but that just is random occurrences. Like, you can't. That stuff's not planned by fate or anything. Like, I mean, it's right up there with like the 666 like theory. I mean,
Hmm.
they call they freaking call Route 66 that because they want to take off the third six. But actually, it was originally Route 666, but then it just bad things kept happening, so they changed the number. So
Sound
I
like
don't
you're
I don't
shilling
worry
for
too much
Moscow.
about that, but I do wear green on St. Patty's Day, so I go with the happy ones.
you just don't want to get pinched.
Uh-oh. Good job, Trip. Okay, he's bringing in for my next one. We got a special guest. Mr. Whiskers.
Mr. Whiskers looks like he wants to kick your ass for putting that sweater on him. He does not look impressed.
He loves his little sweater. Okay,
Scott
so
knits them himself.
I wish. I want to learn to knit. That's like on my bucket list. We jump into
Can't say it's on mine.
that's Mr. Whiskers. Yeah. No, we got a Friday the 13th. Where the hell is it? Ah, there we go.
That cruise ship you said that sunk, is that the one where the captain was trying to get off the boat and they were trying to make him get back on because there are still people?
I didn't read any of that.
No. He was like one of the first people off and they were trying to force him back on, so because it looked cowardly.
It might have been. I'm sure that's happened quite a few times too.
Oh yeah, that's when they look at the next rank down. They're like, "You're captain now. Bye."
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Whiskers is done.
Hi, Mr. Whiskers.
Yeah, he took off. Okay, so black cats were domestic, or not black cats, all cats in general were domesticated around 1500 BCE. And I don't, like, do you guys keep up with that? Now they have CE. It used to be before Christ, after death. Now there's
Before-
like BCE, CE.
I
What does
believe
the E stand for?
I have no
it's
idea.
before it's for before Common Era.
So
Oh,
does that mean after, like, are we still dealing with the same?
Yeah,
Time.
before Common. They kept it so that basically anything before 0 is before Common Era because it's the era we're in now, and
Okay.
anything after that is CE, the Common Era.
Okay.
but does Common Era still start with Christ, or they're just trying not
No.
to get
No.
away from that?
They're trying to get away from religion, like teaching that in school
Yeah.
with religion.
But it does
Which I-
start with like Christ is 0.
Yeah, but they don't say that. I 100% support that.
Different label, same thing. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, cats being like sacred or unlucky or lucky or whatever it's gone back to the Egyptians. Like back when the Egyptians were around, it didn't really matter the color of the cat. For instance, the sun god Ra's daughter Bastet was depicted as a black cat. But the color did start to matter a little bit afterwards, and the first place I could pick it up was with the ancient Celts. And it wasn't necessarily a bad thing to have a black cat. The Welsh believed that a black cat would bring good health, and then the Scottish people believed that a black cat showing up at a new home that you just built or acquired would bring prosperity to the household. But not all of the stories back then were just, black cats bringing luck. There was the cat Sith. So this was a black cat with a white spot in his chest, little white patch there. And he was thought to be a fairy that could bring good or bad luck. So on Samhain, the townsfolk would leave out a saucer of milk for the cat Sith. And if he walked by and drank your milk, then you were supposed to have good, or he was going to bless you for the upcoming year. But if you walked by your house and you didn't have a saucer of milk, all of your cow's udders would go dry. And then there were some people, this story just went on and went on and went on, but some people stopped believing he was a fairy and they believed he was a witch. And they believed that he could be summoned. So to summon the cat Sith, you would have to burn cats' bodies for 4 days on a bonfire, and then he would grant everyone who conjured him one wish.
Hmm.
But that was another thing too, is they believed that dead bodies, if the cat Sith walked over the dead body, he would steal your soul. So they would keep their bodies like in a room in the dark, and they wouldn't light fires because they didn't want any cats coming by to get warmth by the fire. So until you could be buried, you would typically stay in an enclosed dark room. This is Scottish legend, not all of Celtic. And then by the time 1100 AD, many of the gods turned to the one, or many of the Celts who believed in many gods turned into the one true God's traditions, and then things started to change. So at first, I mean, they were always sort of equating black cats with bad luck from then on after. You know, you ditch the Christianity, God's the only good luck. Obviously, the black cat's the bad luck now. But during the 1346 through 1353, they kind of got more of a logical era of trying to exterminate these black cats. So that's when the Black Death was sweeping through Europe, Africa, and Asia, killing millions. And they would actually hunt down the black cats because they thought the black cats were bringing the plague.
Uh-huh.
But when they would kill the black cats, that would increase the rat population, and the rats were actually the ones bringing the plague. So the places that hunted the cats down did worse than the ones that didn't. And that was solely like in Europe. That wasn't an Africa or Asian thing where they were hunting down the black cats. So then we get to the 1600s with the witch trials, and that got pretty bad for black cats in general. They would actually round them up and they would like burn them alive many different ways. We won't get into it, just as entertainment.
Oh.
But at the time, if you owned a black cat, it was kind of proof that you were a witch. And it was actually used as proof in the Salem witch trials, and black cat specifically. So I don't know. I mean, it didn't really pop up after the witch trials too much, besides for the satanic panic era in the 80s. But that was more of, you know, goth kids sacrificing black cats.
So poor kitties, because it's supposed to be bad luck for you if they cross your path, but it sounds more like bad luck for them. Like,
yeah, and there were other stories. So like some people believed that if it walked away from you, then it was good luck. But then when the pirates came along, they thought if the cat walked towards you, it was good luck. And then bad luck, vice versa. So, I mean, the black cat thing goes pretty damn deep, and I was not going to write a novel. So, black cats are interesting, everybody. Go out there and research them.
Now I just want to go and adopt a bunch of black kitties. They've had terrible. Like,
I gotta show my, oh, here, I'll do the Salem one real quick.
Well, everyone needs their familiar, Deborah.
Yeah, that I skipped that part, but yeah, they would think either that the cats were familiars or that the witches would turn into black cats during the witch trials. And then we got
They ain't
one more.
They ain't no Professor McGonagall's.
One more cutie there.
aw, he looks cute there.
He loves his little sweater. I don't know if that's bad luck. We'll see if he pisses on my pillow.
All right. Well, I think it's time for your mashup video there, Scott, before I get going with my eight short superstitions, because I couldn't find much on them.
Okay, I'll do the mashup. And I'm gonna have to take a bathroom break real quick. What do we got? Mashup. Okay, cool. With
I'm not very superstitious.
Oh, heck, suspicious.
Very.
Negative. Oh, dude, for sure, yeah.
I'm a little stitious. Like I won't have a Ouija board in my home, but
Sometimes.
I am not.
Personally, not really.
Ladder from black cats.
Yeah, that's obviously the black cats.
They hated you, Mr. Whiskers. That wasn't the one I was gonna play, but you saw all their answers, so.
All right. Well, I got 8 small superstitions, and one of them was actually mentioned in that video, the first video, but we'll get to
Ladders?
that. Okay, that too, but we'll get to that towards the end.
Yeah.
The,
Be
fir-
right
the
back.
first one. All right. Well, the first one I got was blessing a sneeze, which nowadays, whenever someone sneezes, most people say bless you. But little do you know, you could be saving them from damnation by doing that. The custom originated with the old superstition that a person's soul is separated from their body when they sneeze. Saying bless you was a way to keep the devil from swooping in to steal their soul before they recovered.
I never heard
So-
that.
I've heard it a long time ago. I forgot about it, honestly. But I mean, it's once again, it always comes back to the devil. It's always the devil. And I mean, and as I was taught working in restaurants, if you say Sancho when someone sneezes, when a man sneezes, it means his wife's cheating on him at that moment.
What? Oh, I've never heard that either.
Yeah, which I mean, I think that's worse than damnation, but that's me. But and yes, this is the one that Scott just said, but since he said, I'll do it next. Walking under a ladder. Which this one actually is a pretty simple explanation because in medieval times, ladders were associated with gallows when people were about to be hanged. So a person who made the mistake of walking under a ladder was believed to be facing their own death by hanging in the near future. And there was also belief that because people were hanged from the top of the ladder, the area underneath was haunted.
Oh, crazy. So
Which
I
makes-
read that it was to do with the Trinity, like the Father, Son, and then you're cutting that.
I've heard that too in the past, but I mean, this one makes more logical sense because
Yeah.
they could be haunted underneath that ladder that they used. Who knows? I mean, maybe the spirit just is pissed and wants to sit there all of eternity. But
Yeah. And it's interesting because I live in a 3-story or 2-story, but it's really high. And they were painting the windows just last week. And I had to go under the ladder to get to my front door. They're painting. And the guy was talking about that. And he's like, well, it comes about because of bricklayers, because they didn't want people passing under because you could drop a brick
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah.
Which one were we doing?
well, we talked about saying bless you when you sneeze, and now we're on walking under a ladder
Okay. Caught up.
and how it's
Sorry.
related to the gallows.
That does make the most sense. Yeah.
Did you
Which it
already
does,
give
I
the
mean-
explanation? Am I gonna have to rewatch or are you doing it now?
I already gave it, but basically it's just because of ladders being associated with gallows in medieval times.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that does make sense.
they basically believe that if you walked under a ladder, that you were forcing fate to yourself, that you'd be hung in the near future. And they also believe that underneath the ladder was haunted because people are standing on ladders before they died.
Mm,
So very logical explanations, but
those are the good
this
ones.
this one also is a logical one. Clinking glasses with water in your cup has been bad karma since the ancient Greeks, who only toasted with water to honor the dead. So the idea started with the myth that the dead drank from the river Lethe in the underworld to leave behind their corporeal lives. This toasting tradition evolved over time into a superstition that you're wishing bad luck or death upon someone when you cheers with water in your glass. So basically, make sure you always got some nice whiskey in your glass instead of some water. And that's also why they do champagne at weddings instead of water, obviously.
Yeah. And that makes sense because the mirror thing, the Greeks believed that their spirits like in the reflection of water. So yeah, that makes sense.
So if you work at a restaurant that's catering a wedding to your ex, make sure it's water, not wine or champagne.
Well, wasn't like throughout history, water was like you were better off drinking alcohol than you were water.
Well, I mean, I got well water. I still won't drink it, even though I just got a test back that says it's healthy for drinking.
Yeah.
I refuse to drink well water, like always. Like I don't drink water anyway, plain, but still
It's good for you every once in a while.
once in a while. But all right, this next one is a kind of fun with the time of year it's becoming. Breaking a wishbone. And the wishbone superstition started thousands of years ago with the Etruscan Italian Empire. They predicted the future by observing chickens and viewed the collarbone as a sacred part of the bird. The Etruscans would let the collarbones dry out and then keep them to make wishes. Romans adopted the tradition and started breaking the bones among two people due to lack of availability because I guess chickens were scarce in Rome. Which honestly, how? Because I got 30 in my freaking yard and they can come get them anytime they want.
Chickens are forest creatures too. That's pretty trippy. Never would have
Well,
thought of that.
they stopped being native in a lot of places a long time ago. There's
Yeah.
no such thing as a wild chicken anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, if they escape from the house and they go in the woods, they're gonna be dead in a couple days probably. But we've had a couple go missing in the woods and then they never come back.
Maybe they never
Coyotes.
start happy lives.
But and this is another one that the guy in the first video talked about this for a second. Whistling indoors. Apparently, whistling indoors invites evil listening while you work. In Lithuania, it is forbidden to whistle indoors because the noise is believed to summon demons. And I don't know what the hell he was talking about with the skinwalker, because I mean,
Well, he's
skinwalker.
in Utah now. He was a Russian native.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, Lithuania and
Yeah.
Russia are close together, but I mean, and I know if you hear something whistling in the woods, you're not supposed to go in, but because that's what Wendigos and skinwalkers use to try to get to lure you in. But
You wouldn't go just check it out for a little bit, see what it is.
I'm good. I don't like going in. I don't like going in the woods. I'm on my own accord. I ain't going because someone's calling me. I mean, it's the same as you don't go in the wood. Same as you don't go in the woods if you hear your own name being called, because it's usually like a fairy or a fae trying to get you.
Yeah.
You don't want to
But-
just take a big bag of mushrooms and go explore nature.
That was what college was for. But this next one, well, could explain a little bit about me, I think. Superstitious women in Rwanda don't eat goat meat over fear that it will cause them to grow facial hair.
That's a good one. No Arby's Greek Euros for them, huh?
Which they're crazy because goat meat is delicious if done right.
Where did
It
Oh,
is.
that was Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was gonna say I thought you said something close to Greece. I was like, there's no way.
No, that's Rwanda. I
That's
mean,
where.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had goat meat a lot. It's freaking amazing.
It's the best, I think.
Yeah. It's, I mean, and the first time I had it, it was we were catering at this moose lodge I worked at. We were catering a freaking not bar mitzvah, quinceañera, and the two guys who were paying for it came in with like 3 aluminum trays of food, and we opened one, and it's just a bunch of meat and the goat skull with the eyes still in it.
Yeah.
So I was
Do you
like, I jumped back at first. I was like, what the freak satanic shit is this?
Do you remember what it was called?
What?
The dish?
Oh God, we didn't get told what it was called. We just got told to keep it in the oven, keep it warm.
Oh, okay.
And we were trying to dare each other to eat the eyeball, but no one would.
I've seen somebody eat the eyeball. It was disgusting to watch.
My dad would eat the eyes out of fish. I
Oh.
personally think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting. I'm sure Scott has though.
I haven't eaten any eyes.
He's saving that for
I
Halloween night
would,
dinner.
but this shit is not cheap. Okay, come on now. And you gotta have someone cook it right. But yeah,
Well-
no, hands down, Greek Euro, lamb Euro, that is
Yeah.
my favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, this one actually is kind of for Deborah. Well, okay, not the topic of it, but where it's from. pregnant women should give into their cravings. But there's a Canadian superstition that expectant mothers who are craving fish but don't eat it will end up having a baby with a fish head. I mean,
Well-
those Canadians and their crazy ideas. But
Is that a South Park joke?
no, it's really. Hey, yeah, I'm not your buddy. But
Well,
no.
I don't know. I have never heard of,
And it's
anyone
funny
with a
'cause
fish head baby. So
It's fun. It's funny because when I chose that one, the fact that I said Canadian didn't register with me, even for Deborah. I just saw that now. I was like, oh,
yeah. God, we come up with the best stuff, I tell ya. It's crazy.
yeah. And the last one I got is a very short one, but I thought it was interesting. If you need to go to the hospital, you should go on Wednesdays. According to an old wives' tale, I couldn't find where it came from. The tale states that the best day to go to the hospital is, in fact, hump day.
That might hold some truth. Like, less people have the day. Like when you go to the emergency room, a lot of people are just there because they have the sniffles.
Not anymore.
But isn't the best day to go to the emergency room when you have the emergency?
Yeah.
Like,
Technically, but I mean, the last time I went to the emergency room with my wife, which was almost a year ago now, because it was right for Halloween, we sat in a waiting room for 23 hours until we got seen.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I won't go. I won't even. Yeah, no. I avoid that at all costs if you can.
Utah is amazing. DMV, hospital, anything you need to go to, it's great. But in California, yeah, you had to go through the metal detectors, and then you were sitting there all damn night long. And then they
Oh, no,
would see you for 5 seconds and kick your ass out.
Oh no, there's no metal detectors even surprisingly, because this is Brockton, Massachusetts, and Brockton's a ghetto ass town, but it's still like there's no metal detectors. It's just literally sitting there. The two of us and my daughter literally slept in a freaking waiting room chair at the hospital for all night.
Crazy. Well,
Probably-
so with the superstition? Why Wednesday? Was it a superstitious thing, or is that really just the wait
Well,
times are less?
Because I had a feeling it's because in the middle of the week less is going on. Like
Okay.
people usually do stupid shit in the weekends. So usually the middle of the week is like away from the weekend, so people are doing less stupid shit and they're not going to the hospital.
So that's more like logical thinking, though. Like that just makes sense, right?
Or do you think it's more of an advertisement for the doctors to get more fed you during the middle of the week there when they got
They
less
have to-
people coming in? It's like an advertisement.
Yeah.
Was it
Eh,
brought to you
maybe.
by Pfizer?
Yeah.
No, this is an old wives' tale, not a Karen tale. But that's all I got for superstitions. Well, okay, I guess Deborah didn't register the part where I told her, where I put in the group chat about the whole don't step on a crack thing. Apparently you shouldn't step on sewer grates either, and that goes back to ancient Rome.
Oh.
But that's also only bring me that so I can remember what I'm talking about. That's only if in Sweden you have to watch out for manholes. If you step on one with the letter A, this will bring you a broken heart and bad luck.
Damn, double whammy.
Yeah.
I know. Like bad luck isn't enough. You gotta get a broken heart along with it.
I know. And that's pretty vague. Like, your girlfriend could leave you, but your dog could die. Broken heart. That's
I've never heard that either. That's
I mean, if you step on a loose sewer grate and you go through it, then yeah, you definitely have a broken heart among other things. But
we were drinking under a bridge once. We were at a pretty big party, and my buddy Jeremy, actually, it wasn't a sewer grate, it was a storm drain manhole. And they
Not
were
this
just
Jeremy.
Walking. Yeah, no. They were walking and he disappeared. It was the funniest crap I had ever seen, man.
he like fell in.
He fell in, and it was a deep one. It was like a 15-foot deep. And he must have hit those steps on that manhole. I wish we had cameras back in the day.
yeah,
That's. I mean, he probably didn't laugh, but yeah, that would be actually. I can see how that'd be funny. It's
Well,
terrible.
it made a lot of people laugh. So It was great.
I mean, should I feel attacked? Because between that and I saw a meme on Facebook yesterday saying that what the hell? It was something about eating like garlic bread and stuff like that. Like, and it had my name in it. I'm like, do I feel attacked now? Like, what the hell?
Oh yeah.
Trigger warning.
Like, I'm like, yes, I like garlic bread and other things like that.
He likes
Who do-
garlic
who-
bread too.
Who doesn't like garlic bread? Come on.
Depends on who's making it.
Vampires,
No,
that
that,
too.
that is very true. That is very true.
Have you
Even vampires
guys
eat garlic.
have you guys seen any new horror movies? We just watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter for the first time last night. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's a good one.
That
I
was a
wouldn't
good
consider it
one.
a horror movie, but
Yeah.
What's the one that's on Netflix? It's like 2.5 hours long and everyone's talking about it.
oh, ominous.
No. This is a brand new one. It's what is it?
Is it the one where they abduct little kids in the basement?
It has a clown in it. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but it's everybody's saying that it's people are fainting
With-
and whatever, like they say, like they
With-
said for House on Haunted Hill or whatever.
Is it Ethan Hawke? I don't have Netflix on my phone, but I know Ethan Hawke, they're promoting the hell out of that movie where he's like a child kidnapper.
The Crown Clown. Is that it?
Gosh, I don't know. No, that's not that either.
Jeremy might laugh at me for this one. I saw Killer Clowns from Outer Space not too long ago, last week for the first time.
I just saw it. I watched it like 6 months ago for the first time. Like,
Okay, I'm
I
not
watched.
alone.
I watched it for our
It's good?
halfway to I watched it for our halfway to Halloween horror comedy bracket.
It was pretty good. I liked it. I don't. Jeremy can.
It was
Funny.
pretty good. It was funny. It was funny. You can't go into it expecting a real horror movie. But I can understand why a lot of kids in the '80s were horrified by it.
It was pretty
It ruined clowns for people once again in the '80s.
Yeah.
I mean, John Wayne Gacy did that in the '70s, but then in the '80s they did that movie. So, and I know people who were terrified by that movie when they were kids, because like the clowns literally show up like at your front door and kidnap you.
Well, clowns they're just scary anyways. Even if they're at a party being nice and funny, they're creepy. There's something, I don't know. That's not my thing.
know-
I think clowns are freaky.
I'm a juggalo. I roll with clowns till I'm dead in the ground. So yeah.
Did any of you guys see anything new recently
I
that's
mean,
not going to your top 10?
I've watched 70 to 80 horror movies in the last like month. So yeah, I've seen a lot of new things, but I'm not sure what my top 10 is gonna be yet. I gotta think about it. But
My
well, actually, I
wife,
did.
my wife
Don't-
made me watch that Stephen King one you were talking
Thinner?
about.
Thinner? Yeah, Thinner, the
no,
gypsy
no,
one.
no, maybe she made me watch something else. It was Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. There we go.
Dr. Sleep, yeah.
Yeah, that's the sequel to The Shining.
Yeah, I got like an hour and 45 minutes through, and then my wife told me the ending that I remember wasn't right. Carrie didn't come back and join the X-Men and save the day. That's not what happened.
I know some people that'd be very pissed off at you if they were in this podcast right now.
I posted a video
It's like
about
silence.
that. I've got a lot of people that are pissed off about it.
Ooh, I know some people that would be furious at you for saying that about the great Stephen King's works.
He hated all of his movies. Give me a break.
Yeah, no, he signed all those deals while he was on his coke period.
You gotta make that money, dude.
Got to buy more coke,
Stuff's not cheap.
but
Well, I mean, his mind is phenomenal. The movies, some of it's the directing and whatever, right? It's just the movie themselves.
I've never
Yeah, it's-
actually read one of his.
oh god, read it. It is one of the best written books ever. Or The
movie,
Shining.
It better be no, I will not do The Shining. That was 2.5 hours of nonsense with the dog man furry at the end. I don't.
No, the book is 5,000 times better than any movie they ever did of it.
Well, maybe if I get
The
bored
book
enough.
is there is so much more in the book than they ever included in any movie.
All the books are way better, right? And Christine was fairly close, the movie and the book. They were pretty close, but for the most part, the books are always 10,000 times better than the movies.
I mean, yeah, Salem's Lot, Dead Zone, like all the books are better than the movies. Like, though
You know,
Dead Zone's always a good one.
Was it called The Other Half? Or the Other
Oh,
Side?
Dark Half. You're thinking of Dark Half?
Where it's his twin that he ate in the womb or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty creepy concept.
Well, it happens.
Yeah. I don't know, does it?
Supposedly, they're twin. They're plenty of twins.
Where they
that eat each
consume,
other.
but then they have their birth, yeah, maybe. He's got a brilliant mind for coming up with the creep stuff.
But his best stuff came when he was coked out in the late 70s, early 80s.
Have you guys read Needful Things?
I watched the movie and I was
is
not
that
impressed.
the movie
The
with
movie's funny,
Woody
like it's kind of
Harrelson?
silly, but the book is better, but yeah.
They skin a damn dog. It's not a good movie.
Yeah. It's just interesting how manipulative and people are doing all this crazy stuff. Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's another one of like his gypsy stories, kind of, but like
Yeah.
the whole idea of it is just so stupid. Like this guy can like bring you treasures from your childhood and whatnot, or things that meant a lot to you that got destroyed, and all he asks is one favor. It's like a djinn basically, but just one.
Yeah.
It's like no wishes.
Yeah.
It basically tells you like, this is your wish right here, just take it, and you gotta do this though.
It's the scariest movies are the documentaries like Dahmer. Did you guys watch that?
Oh,
No.
man, that shit
I haven't seen-
depresses the
I haven't-
fuck out of me.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to watch it. I love anything to do with those serial killers, Dahmer, Gacy.
Yeah, so everybody's talking about Dahmer, and then there's that new movie on Netflix, The Watcher or whatever, too, right? That's based on a true story. That house where there's some but he harasses whoever's living in the house and starts stalking them. Whoever lives in the house constantly. They can't even sell the house because some crazy
Is
guy
Like
bothers them.
kids in the stairs type thing where he's living in the walls or what?
Well, they never actually solved who it was, and everybody in the town started blaming each other. It caused a lot of problems in the town. I don't think they ever figured out who it was slipping these postcards, but it was, it was really, he'd talk about the kids' names and everything, like, and that's based on a true story.
Was the governor's wife connected to that? Or
No idea.
I don't know. I'm thinking of some
But-
podcast I heard way down the road.
But I think it's time for us to wrap this episode up, at least on the live end.
Yeah,
Well-
that's probably.
Last question: are we dressing up for Halloween?
God no.
So that's a yes from Jeremy.
No, it's not. I don't dress
Okay.
up for. I don't dress. I dressed up once for my wife and the kids, like twice actually, and that's it. Like I don't dress up no more. Like screw that. I didn't do it before that for like 15 years, so why would I do it?
We just lost a viewer.
Oh, it's your fault, Jeremy. They want us to
Well,
dress up.
If they go look at the podcast I shared out today on Facebook, they used a picture of me as Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses a couple Halloweens ago.
I got one of those as a favorite scary movie. I haven't heard that
Ooh.
one in a long time. That came out when I was a teenager.
I just watched it for the first time a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my wife loves them. I got what's his name? What the hell is his name? I just was talking about it on another podcast a week ago. Not Captain Spaulding, but the other guy, Tiny, or
I have not seen that movie since it was in the dollar show in probably the late 90s or early 2000s.
Katie. What's the guy's name I got the autograph of from the Rob Zombie trilogy?
That was a trilogy?
Yeah, House of a Thousand Corpses, the Devil's Rejects, and 3 Out of Hell.
Yeah, I only saw the first one.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, you should. I mean, you should watch them, Deborah, if you don't mind it, and when stuff is very gross and dirty.
Do you guys remember from the same time? I know what you do, or I know what you did last summer. Did any of you
Oh
see
yeah,
that?
I remember that.
Yeah. Jeremy,
Which one? I'm trying to look up this actor's name because it's driving me nuts.
I know what you did last summer.
I
guess-
hate those fucking movies.
That was like Scream, like the same
Oh.
time Scream
Yeah.
came out
Bill
too, right?
Bill Mosley, the guy who played Otis in House of a Thousand Murders with the long hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got his autograph at a horror convention a couple years ago,
Oh really? Well, that's cool.
and I got a picture with him. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a trilogy. You should watch the other two before Halloween. Scott, your list might change. Watch them before next week.
What is your go-to Halloween movie?
Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town.
Okay.
I'm a kid at heart, man. I'm a kid at heart.
Okay, well don't. This is because of my kids, so no flack. But the Headless Horseman, and it used to be the
Oh.
cartoon version, but now it's
The Johnny
now
Depp
I'm-
one, Sleepy Hollow. Is
I was gonna
that-
say
Yeah.
the Johnny Depp.
the
Sleepy
Johnny
Hollow
Depp one.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was a
But, yeah.
handsome man back then.
that's yeah.
He's still a handsome man. Who are you kidding?
It
I
depends
paid
which
a-
picture you see, which day.
Those pirate movies.
Oh, dude, I love him in those pirate movies. He's an amazing actor.
He's good as a pirate. He's still hot there, but some of
Those
his
pirate movies, those pirate movies are hilarious. Him as a vampire is hilarious. Anything he does is freaking amazing. Him in
as
Harry
Ed
Potter world is
Wood.
amazing.
I
love that.
God, that killed me, dude. That killed me.
love it.
Grindelwald.
Oh yeah, him as Grindelwald was great.
No
It was
way.
better than it's better than when Mads Mikkelsen took over the new one. And I love Mads Mikkelsen, but he was a horrible Grindelwald.
I don't see it.
I mean, he was better than Hannibal. Or in the Star Wars movie, or in Rogue One.
I didn't keep up with the Star Wars after the 1970s one. I saw, a couple of the
You're missing out.
early 2000s, and that was enough. They came out with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Star Wars is better.
I would have to disagree with you there.
The Lord of the Rings, at least the original trilogy, is a movie about two hobbits who have a very weird relationship with each other, and it's watch Clerks too. They do a good job in that movie describing the Lord of the Rings.
I know that movie would do a lot better now. I get it, but The
It would
Hobbit
have been a
was
lot
good,
better.
too.
I think it would have been a lot better if Peter Jackson didn't direct it, but yeah.
Now we're going in uncharted territory. Okay, I'm gonna end the
Time
live
to end the
stream.
live.
And say goodbye to all the people watching.
Goodbye, you few viewers I haven't pissed off yet.
Yeah, be weak.
Next week. Okay, live stream is that was the live stream, right? I think that was,
Yeah, it's still recording.
yeah.